I hit the button. It happened. All right, fantastic. Welcome to yet another episode of Disabled Girls Who Live. Panel of Spoons back in the building. Mary Beth is not with us today, but this is Marcia, sitting on Seminole Tribe land in South Florida. She, they. I am a Black femme wearing clear glasses, blue shirt, sitting in front of a colorful wall. I will call out our panelists of the day, and they will introduce themselves. First, we have Kresenda.
Hi, good morning. Afternoon?
Whatever.
I don't know. Whatever it is. So I'm Kresenda, she, hers. I am a Mexican female sitting in Southern California. Green shirt, black hair, blurred background, and ready to chat.
Yeah, perfect. And we have Joe.
Hi, my name is Joe. My pronouns are she, they. I am a white femme. I'm wearing glasses, tie-dye shirt. I have tattoos and I'm sitting in front of a bookshelf. Glad to be here.
Fantastic. We have Rebekah.
I am Rebekah. I'm here on Shinnecock land. I'm also Shinnecock. I'm here from the on territory. I have on a pink sweatshirt and my glasses are reflecting really bad on the camera. And I am sitting in front of a door in a closet and stuff.
Great, grand, perfect. Brigitte.
Hey guys, I'm Brigitte. I am in North Carolina. I'm a white female and I'm sitting in a green room and I think you can see my blood pressure cuff behind me. So nice to meet you all.
Keeping it classy. Nice to have you. So everyone else, you should know from previous podcast episodes, but Brigitte is new. And last but not least, we have Shravya, which I'm working hard to say correctly.
That was the best yet, dude. I am Shravya. I am an Indian American woman. My pronouns are she, her. I'm in the Ohlone land, which is also the Bay Area, California. I have black hair, brown skin, brown glasses, and I'm sitting in my new dream armchair that's black and white from IKEA. I'm very excited about it.
The dream armchair. I'm with it. So it's been, a time. We're still in a whole ass pandemic. Some of y'all recorded episodes during the pandemic. I think some of y'all slid in before that ever started. So maybe we should start with that. I'm pretty sure Kresenda was before. I'm not sure if Shravya was. So let's check in with Kresenda because what are you doing?
It's been a minute.
What are you doing? The last we knew, you had some kittens. Gum. You had some kittens. You were doing, you were fighting with some strongman admins who were like totally on some bullshit and trying to find a nice job. So where are you at?
Let's see. So last time we checked in, I was still living in Northern Cal. I'm now in Southern Cal by the beach. So much happier there. I got my own apartment now with the partner. So we're down to just our cats, no kittens. Although I do apologize if the cat whines in the background. Strongman, still not allowed to lift at Arnold's.
It was the Arnold's. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was Arnold's. Still blocked by Magnus Ver Magnuson, which is like a pride part on my, now it's just like a label I wear with pride.
Should be in your bio. Blocked by.
Let's see. Did not lift this year for Static Monsters. And it turns out there were a whole one female lifted for adaptive. So definitely one of those things that's looming in the background of how do we get more adaptive females to lift strongman. And Dana's retired. I took a break and now we're all kind of like, I don't know.
Who else is out there? This was just so Static Monsters is for folks that know. First of all, strongman. Does everybody know what strongman is? Okay, let's make sure we're on the same page. You lift weird things up, you put weird things down, right? Like it's not like powerlifting where it's a standard barbell, or like Oli where it's like barbell. Strongman is like apparatus. And then static monsters is different because it's like on the same day at different locations, people are doing max log and max what? Deadlift or wagon wheel?
Yeah, it's an axle 18-inch
right.
deadlift.
Right. So then for that event, super cool. There was adaptive division. Great, but
nobody wants to lift. Yeah, it's the biggest conundrum because, you know, as I've been told, I don't have a marketable look, is what some of us have been told, that I don't play up being ill enough. So it makes it harder for me to market to adaptive lifters, apparently.
Okay.
And I mean, I took almost over a year off of social media. So I don't really have the following anymore to market, but there's just nobody wants to lift adaptive for strongman because I don't think that they realize that we can, for one. But I mean, in the United States, we have Static Monsters, America's strongest person with disabilities, and then Arnold. Arnold is run by a person. We'll just leave it at that. A person. And America's strongest is in Ohio. Arnold's in Ohio, and Static Monsters is once a year. So we have all of 3 competitions to lift at.
Directed more specifically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it comes back to the conundrum of how do you get promoters to provide you with an adaptive category? Well, you have to have adaptive lifters, but in order to have adaptive lifters, you have to have a category for them to know that they can lift adaptive. But in order to get a category, you have to have the lifters already. And so it's still struggling with that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like so dumb because how many years ago were there no women lifting at all, any category? And they're not anywhere near like having a MX division or anything like that. So we're not even gonna talk about that. But just women in the sport is new. And y'all could chime in at any time you want, by the way. Unmute, put your 2 cents in. But I would think in a pandemic, no less, there's going to be less adaptive people because we got no money and we don't want to be breathed on. That's just my guess, you know? I'm just putting it out there.
I have a question. So Strongman does have like adaptive divisions and stuff like that?
No. Static Monsters is the only one that has gone out of their way to have an adaptive division that lifts right alongside everybody else. I take it back. There is one in Colorado called Crown Mountain. And they have invited me a couple times. They're wonderful, but of course, you have to fly to Colorado. You have to find a hotel. You have to have, since I don't drive, you have to have some sort of driver or taxi or something. Like the amount of cost that it takes to fly to these competitions when there's competitions happening around the corner from me it's asinine.
The altitude change going from here to Colorado is also nuts. I struggle a lot every time I go there to visit my friend.
Yeah.
Shaking her head like,
Yeah, I had to start over when I moved here, like entirely. It's a thing.
I didn't even think of
I don't know how you do it.
I didn't even think of that. That's wild. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like you say you want to do something, but you don't put any extra effort into it. So why even say that you're doing it? It's like, I don't know, every movie that comes out, right, where it's like a deaf person pretending that they're deaf, they're not deaf. And they're like, well, we couldn't find any actors. And it's like, well, what'd you do? Just like post on Craigslist once? Like, what did you actually do?
Yeah.
Kresenda,
so
what?
I was gonna say, I asked just because when I did my episode, I'm a CrossFitter, right? And I like Marja and Mary Beth learned that there's like a whole adaptive division, but they also split it up by what it is. So like upper extremities, lower extremities. I'm in the neuromuscular. I think Brigitte, you would be in my division, and I think there was someone in my division who had, and I'm competing against, like, I have MS. I'm competing against people with cerebral palsy. I'm competing against there's a lady in my division who had like a brain tumor, and they got to take it out, but she is in my division. And this year, for the first year, it was really part of the games. Like they brought the top athletes, the top athletes for most of the divisions, most of the adapted divisions. I think maybe like there's probably only like one or two people who competed who were deaf. So I don't think they went, probably because they just didn't want to go. But like they competed at the games and they did all the same workouts as all the other people. And I mean, I think they did adaptive in the age divisions early, because CrossFit also does age divisions. So like they did the age and adaptive like first maybe 2 days, I think. And then the other days were the RX athletes. But like, you know, they brought out the guy who won first place in neuromuscular also had MS. And like, I think one of the top 3 in the women division also had MS. So like they always did adaptive, but I think this was the first year they really brought it into the mainstream and did stuff like that. But also CrossFit has new ownership, so
I don't know if I'm wrong here, but I feel like that still leads into the Kresenda conversation, because if it wasn't for Wheelwad like doing the work for how long they've been doing it, I don't think it'd be here. And so Kresenda's like, I'm not Wheelwad, essentially, right?
Exactly.
And they're like, well, we're not gonna do it. Like, I think that's where it's at.
Technically, that's what Arnold does. So Arnold is the kind of is like the world's for adaptive lifters. However, the person who runs it is from Iceland. And he heard that I have Ehlers-Danlos, didn't hear about anything else that's going on, didn't even hear about the specifics, and immediately disqualified me from Arnold's. He told me that EDS is a symptom, and so I'm not qualified. And then his partner, Magnus Ver Magnusson, the like world famous strongman, said, no, that's not what Arnar said. Arnar said that it might not be safe for you to lift. And I was like, well, I've been lifting for 3 years, very publicly. And he's like, well, you just need to show us that you're able to lift. And you need to be nicer about this. You can't be demanding. And then he went on a rant, and I told him to where he could stick it. And
and then that ends.
And I was like, well, how am I supposed to show you that I can lift if you're going to block me? Big strong man.
I know, so strong but so fragile in his feelings.
And because they're very, very prominent in the UK, obviously UK version of World's Strongest Disabled Man, and they bring it over to America so that Strongman Corporation doesn't have to touch anything like that. So they just let them control it and are like, well, that's just their thing. So if they don't believe that you qualify to lift, then you don't qualify to lift.
They're
so
like outsourcing it. Rebecca, basically. what did you have to do to say I'm in whatever division? Like what?
Nothing.
Okay.
I did not have to prove anything. It's like you pick your division for whatever they put it in. They kind of have a list of things for each division. But it's not like a comprehensive list. It's not like if you're not like, but like I said, they don't ask anything. I think maybe when you get to the higher levels, possibly. But I mean, the CrossFit's weird. There's this thing called the Open, which everybody does all over the world. Every gym, it could be your first day at CrossFit and you're going to participate in the Open. But then you get scores and stuff, and then the top people are offered to go to the games. So maybe at games level, you maybe had to prove something, but for Open level, you just put whatever you wanted in.
Pull up. That's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I offered my doctors, I offered my medical file. Like,
it shouldn't be that deep.
I'm like, where do they get off telling you that you don't advertise you're sick enough? Like, why are they putting that expectation to advertise?
Well, and that was the advice given to me by fellow lifters as well. One certain fellow lifter said, if you do what I do and play it up and make sure that you wear all of these braces and stuff to show that you're sick, because then they'll know that you're not faking it. And I'm like, I don't need to do that. And my entire platform has been, do not rely on these braces, because you have internal braces. Relying on these braces can actually cause more harm. I'm not going to play shit up.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have to.
Lame. That's not cool. That reminds me of, dang, I should have Invited Marie, my bad. So we had an episode with Marie from Canada, and she said a similar thing. She does wheelchair bodybuilding, but they're used to wheelchair bodybuilding being specifically spinal cord injury. She has MS. She can stand, she can walk, but she uses mostly the wheelchair to save her energy. Smart, play smart, not harder, right? Yep. So she'll want to do the poses in a certain way, like, all right, so I'm gonna turn like this, bound for the triceps, and they'll be like, no, you can't do it that way. That's not how the disabled people do it.
Yeah, the wheel wad. When I did wheel wad, I competed obviously in like neuromuscular, and because it was for so many different illnesses, they had to have a standard. So we did dumbbell snatches, and I looked at all the other things, and like obviously if you don't have two arms, you can't do alternating dumbbell snatches because you don't have the other arm. So like obviously they didn't do it. And they just did single arm snatches, but neuromuscular, they had us doing single arm snatches because like some people, if you have cerebral palsy, you might not have control over one of your arms as well. But like I have control over, but like my arms work the same. I don't really have an imbalance or anything like that. And so that was sort of a weird part of that standard, is that like, or like the burpees, I can do a burpee. Maybe not everybody can do a burpee, but like I can do a burpee, and because some people can't, like we had to do like knee burpees, like you're just on your knees, just going flopping up and down on your knees, because not everybody can do that. Was pretty much all it is. And so like it's very interesting because like I could do what can I do? I'm really good at jump roping. Like I'm good at jump roping. I can do 100 unbroken single under. I haven't got a dumbbell under yet. Like I'm pretty good at jump roping. And then for that, they made us jump onto like a 10-pound plate. And like that was our jump roping thing, because they're still trying to kind of figure out what's
the middle ground.
Yeah, what's the middle ground? I know a CrossFitter who has MS, and then she was in a car accident and she's paralyzed. So like, where does she compete? Because she could do.
Why don't they just ask people what they want?
Yeah, I don't know.
It should be. That's like the peak problem, right? Like ask the people that are in it. Like, have the people sign up, right? And then just fucking make a group email. Who cares? Make a survey. I don't know. It doesn't have to be that deep, right? Just ask.
Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, like I would have loved to do alternating snatches. Doing it with one hand is just like super weird. I got a whole other hand that works. But like I get why they did it that way, but like it's also so strange, especially neuromuscular. It could be so many different things. So like, it's whatever.
Well, that's the weird thing with me is now I have really bad CRPS type 1 in my forearm, and I can't have anything touch that forearm. I can no longer do a lot of lifts. I can no longer deadlift because it feels like the muscle fibers are being torn off the bone. It's like, it's bad. And so that's changed how I have to lift. And static monsters. So, I mean, strongman, we lift with straps no matter what. And I emailed them and I said, guys, I have this new injury. It's not going to go away. It's probably for life now. Can I use a deadlift strap over my shoulders, full strap? And they're like, yeah, of course. Not a question, not an ask of why, like just oh, you have something going on. Well, let's adapt to that. Let's figure out. They're like, do you need help on the log? What can we do to help you? Like, and I was like, this is how it should be run. Like there was no nothing. It was just an obvious, we're going to make room for you. We're going to figure out how to get you in. And we're going to make sure that you can, because I was like, they're like, do we need to buy this and send it to you? And I was like, no, I keep my own strap now. And they're like, it was just a given that they would adapt to having me there instead of me trying to figure out how am I going to lift around what they're doing. And I was like, it was so easy. The promoter, shout out to Big Tommy up in NorCal, like it was nothing. He was like, yeah, no problem. And they made sure that I set up in my own station and just left the strap on there and had an extra station. Let me go a little later in the competition so that we didn't have to unload the strap and reload the strap. It was it was so seamless and made it feel like you were not a burden, that you were completely welcome to lift. And I was like, it made you realize just how ridiculous it is lifting anywhere else.
That's pretty trash. Not gonna lie. On that note, has anyone else, well, Joe recently switched from the powerlifting to the Oli lifting. Rebecca's a CrossFitter. Shravya is powerlifter. Brigitte is what's your choice?
Powerlifter.
Do you compete?
So I've competed once. It was last year, and then 4 days later, I ended up with CRPS. So I haven't competed since being diagnosed with CRPS.
So
But I hope I will.
That was going to be my question. It was a two-parter question here is, have you had any injuries that are changing the way you think about competing because of the bullshit that Kresenda just went through? Start with that. Never mind on the second part. It's going to be too long. So go ahead. Keep going, Brigitte. You already answered it before I asked it. Just keep it rolling.
So I have a peripheral nerve stimulator in my leg right now. And that in itself makes me have to compete in the adaptive division of either the USPA or the USAPL, which isn't like a bad thing, but I can still complete all the lifts to comp standards. So I have a little bit of mixed feelings about it because they're not letting me compete against like general population, even though I'm capable of it.
You don't have the choice.
Yeah. I mean, at a local meet, I could probably talk to the meet director, but so far that's what I've been told.
In USPA, so we've talked about the USAPL on the podcast millions of times, but if people don't know, in general, they're trash, right? And then recently they were like, I don't know, had a PR guy come in, I guess, and was like, how can we look less trash? And they made like 4 categories, and there's like a MX, I don't know how you say that out loud, gonna be honest, MX category, this adaptive, I think they made like a Paralympic bench or something. I forgot the 4th one. But essentially, if you meet those category things, you can only be in that category. So that means you don't get a medal, you don't get to go to Worlds. I don't know what that means for records. I don't know what it means for weight classes. That's the USAPL one. What's the USPA one?
So USPA, at least the way it was explained to me, because I've never competed with them when I did my competition, it was USAPL. They said they have an adaptive category and it covers pretty much everything. They'll let you use any stuff you need extra. You can have a coach come help you set up. You get extra time setting up for your lifts. And it sounded very inclusive, but still you're faced with that same problem where if you're like me and you can still complete the lifts to the traditional comp standards, you're not really able to compete against everyone else.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyone else not competing? And we're not even talking about COVID, but just because of like where your body's at right now and where the federations are at.
I'm not competing for a little bit here now.
Yeah, same. But mine's mostly just COVID related, not for any other reason. I actually switched back from Olympic to powerlifting again because I had got COVID and I was out for 3 or 4 weeks. I was just like not lifting and it just completely wiped me. And I had to start over. Like I had to completely start over. So I switched back from Olympic to powerlifting just to regain some like base strength back, and I'm still lifting at home too, so
right,
it feels like a better use of my time to do powerlifting and being able to actually max out. But
right,
trying to max out with Olympic weightlifting in my apartment is dangerous. Yeah,
not a good look. I'm with you on that. When it comes to like long breaks, going back to doing something like strongman or Olympic weightlifting is a lot harder to me than the static powerlifting. And I don't know if it's just like positional change or the dizziness or the blood pressure or what it is, but yeah, same.
That's why I got into powerlifting, because I could handle it so much better than any other form of activity.
So what were you doing before?
I was doing like a lot of HIIT workouts and just random stuff at the gym, and I just couldn't keep up.
Yeah, no, thank you. but that's all we know, right? Like you follow every like fit influencer and they're doing like jump squats and shit, and like not even talking about CrossFit, right? I'm not even talking about I'm talking about like the booty one, and they look like they're like twerking.
We don't do jump squats.
I'm not even well, you jump on the boxes, whatever. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like the stairs thing, and then like the stair climber, the leg kicks, like that's all I knew in the beginning.
Have you seen the one where people are like riding the adductor machine like they're training for date night?
Yes, they're like standing on it, and then they like
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen a lot of that lately, and I'm like, but why?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I mean, when you're like somewhat interested in going in the weight section, that's all you know, until somehow somebody's like, there's more, and you're like, oh shit, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. But my reasons for not competing are also COVID related, and also just like community related. So that was the second part of my question, is I'm wondering if anybody is not competing more of like a community reason. So not to say your body can't hang, but like it doesn't sit right with me that most of the people that are strongman events were sharing conspiracy theories about COVID, right? That were just saying like, you'll be fine. If you're healthy, then it's fine. Like I don't want to see those people. So
yeah, I noticed a lot of the strength gyms are very, very red. And
like
it definitely
Blue Lives
kind
Matter
of,
flags.
yeah. And I'm kind of like in the spot where I do not have the health to work out with you if you're not wearing a mask, which is why I'm kind of switching over to adaptive Highland right now, because it's outdoors and I don't have to worry about you being all up in my face. Like I am tired of arguing with people for my own rights. So if I can't do it without a strength gym, I'm probably not going to be doing it right now.
Dude, side note, Highland sounds hella fun though.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's they seem very inclusive. I've talked to a couple people. They have a good kind of wheel type of stuff where they do have people actually working in the background promoting. So I'm not going to have to do all that background work myself. So I think that's the next move, because right now strongman is kind of dead in the water.
Yeah, I'm not competing because honestly, like, I'm not convinced that everyone at a meet's going to be vaccinated and everything, just given how the community is. But also my body's just pissed at me right now. So I'm in kind of starting a functional phase. I'm like foundation building, I guess, where I'm at right now. But yeah, like I tell people, oh yeah, I'm a powerlifter. They're like, oh. Like they know already. And I'm like, I'm a vaccinated powerlifter, guys. It's okay. It's okay.
I was gonna say that it's I just feel so burned by I worked at 2 different gyms before COVID, and like I had such a huge community at both of them, and the way that the gym community has treated COVID, and the same thing with like, I'm strong, therefore I am healthy. I now that I am fully vaccinated, and 2 have like gotten COVID, like I feel like I will be okay. But at this point, it's just kind of like voting with my dollar. Like I went to get a massage recently, and I walked in, I was wearing a mask, and the counter lady like wasn't wearing a mask. So I asked her if she was vaccinated, and she said no. And I was like, see ya. And I just like turned around and left, and I left him a bad review. And the owner of the place like saw it and called me and was like, how do I fix this? And I was like, you guys aren't vaccinated, nor are you wearing masks. And the lady was like, oh, she's a counter girl and she's not vaccinated because she has health problems. And I freaked out at this lady, and I was like, I have health problems. And she's like, yeah, I don't think this is going to be a good fit for either of us. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So long story short, it's just I don't feel that there are any gyms around me that I feel good about giving my money to at this
Yeah.
point. So I'm staying home and I'm fine doing that.
Yeah, I also train at home.
Yeah, I now go to a big box gym because it's one of those, they were forced to comply. And it's like, at least they're forced to comply. A lot of the big box gyms have started getting Olympic stations anyway. So what, I mean, I'm going to go visit one of the, there's a really good strength gym right down the street. And like, they have like a bajillion of the like California's strongest, world's strongest, go on to Arnold's strongmen people. So I'm like, oh, that'd be a great fit. But it took them 2 weeks to message me back for one. And I'm like, that's usually a not good thing. Like you see somebody saying, hey, I would love to come visit your gym. I'm thinking about lifting there. Like you see my profile and then you see my profile and you're like, I'll take some time to message her back. That's never a good feeling because you want potential customers in your gym and you take a look at my profile and then you put me on hold. That's not a good sign. But it's kind of one of those things where I go to a gym and I walk around and I look and see what are you actually saying, and when I lift, I say that I come from your gym. Do I want to represent your gym? Because in NorCal, like Beast of the Bay and Strength Club and everything, like amazing guys, the best guys I've ever met, completely inclusive, very open, very, very strict about COVID, like hands down the best experience. And now that I know what it's going to be like, I'm not going to settle for anything else. I see how easy it was for Tommy to include me, make sure it's safe for literally everybody, take care of every single member that he has, start lifting in a parking lot instead of inside of a gym because COVID's happening. Nobody's not allowed to wear their mask. Everybody's sanitizing. And I'm like, I'm not settling for anything less because it literally cost him nothing. It took no time out of his day.
Yeah, he
And
just
I
had to
see
care.
that, yeah, all he did was care.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would you settle for anything less when you see that it can be done? And he's turning a profit just fine and he's taking care of his community.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And you know what? I know nothing about his politics. It had nothing to do with politics. Like, for all I know, he could be the worst human. He could be a Nazi. He's not. I know for a fact he's not. But I'm saying, for all I know, he could be. He left that out of it. This is just about taking care of his community.
Yeah. I emailed somebody and I asked them, like what their COVID protocol was, and told this lady my situation and what she's doing as a private business owner to make sure everyone is able to lift at her gym. And first, it took me a couple weeks to hear back from her. And then eventually she was like, well, there's really nothing I can do. My hands are tied unless, Colorado comes with like a new guideline for blah, 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 whatever. And it's just like, you're the owner. And it's also like, all you have to do is have people wear masks, or like even like have some sort of signage about vaccines, or like just like make some sort of effort to pretend that you care or something. But to just
the bare minimum.
Just it's
my
really
hands are tied. By whom, ma'am? By whom?
This is your gym. You can do whatever you want.
What the fuck?
That's one of the things I noticed about moving. So NorCal, very blue, very liberal. And now I'm in Orange County. And we're like the little pocket on the beach of not like the rest of California. And it's very like, there's no mask mandate. So when we wear the mask at the gym, we get those kind of side eyes. And it's like the difference in, where I'm 2 miles from the beach. So it's awesome, but you miss out on doing a lot of things because people
Orange
just
County is a whole mess. My team and I, a couple of years ago, before the before the pandemic really got bad. We did like a team retreat there. And like 99% of my team were brown girls. So a bunch of brown girls walk into this gym in Orange County, and like everyone's there is just like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? And we all start lifting, and this guy says, oh, I thought I was getting a bunch of brown cheerleaders. And it's like, no, sir, that is not what's
Brown
happening. Please,
I'm so glad you
please
said
kindly.
that.
Someone said that, and I was like, please kindly go fuck yourself. This is ridiculous.
Oh my God. Okay,
What the
so I just
shit?
moved here. I moved here literally a month ago. And there's been times where we would walk around places. And I mean, I'm kind of ethnically ambiguous sometimes when you look at me, but there's definitely a what are you feeling that I get a lot of times.
Yeah, from around these
And-
parts.
Yeah. And now like I'm much more brown, and so a lot of the gyms we've been going around trying different 24-hour fitness because we have a year-long membership there. And we'll be lifting, and just the looks, the kind of side eye, or one white lady just bumped into me while walking through the aisle to get to the machine next to me to lift. Oh my God, we call that gym forms because it was nothing but ego lifting. But I'm like, I thought maybe I couldn't quite put my finger on what was happening.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm lifting, I'm getting stared at. Anything I'm doing.
No, that's what it is. It's racism.
And it was like, well, and a lot of times I'm like, there's no way. It could
No,
be that.
I get what you're
It must
saying.
be like,
Sometimes you need like a person that's like, right? Like
yeah.
Shravya was with the girls, like with the homies. Like they could look at each other and be like, okay,
whereas like
right?
I lift with like the whitest guy on the
you don't
planet
have
wearing
like
a Batman
you don't have
t-shirt.
like a check. Like you can't be like, is it?
I
Yeah,
always
I'm with
assume
you. It
it's,
gets
what is
really
she doing
confusing.
with him? I always assume it's what is she doing with him? I never go straight to race, but around here, it feels like that happens a little more than not. Like,
Who
it's
knows?
like, what is going on here?
Who knows?
Well, and quite frankly, why I'm like the white Mexican, not like the brown Mexican. I have pretty pale skin, and I have lupus, so I'm allergic to the sun. So I'm pretty pale. And it's like, I'm still browner than most around here. So it's like, what's going on? Like, you always have that question in the back of your mind. Like,
yeah, you need a check. You need somebody you could just text real quick to just be like, is this racism or is it me? That's what you need. Like just a real just check in.
Like I started keeping like the disposable toothbrush because I always think like maybe it's something going on in my face. Like maybe I got something going on.
Oh my God.
I feel like if you're getting the is it racism vibes, it's probably racism.
It's probably racism.
Yeah. This is also true.
Yeah, for so many years I didn't have that. Or I mean, I had it, but not to this extent.
Yeah, you're in a totally different area.
Like, wow.
Joe, do you get? Oh, go ahead.
I was just telling my friend about how, I was born not in the Bay, but I was raised in the Bay Area, and it's quite diverse here. But in 2019, when I graduated from grad school, and my family went out to Indiana, and we stopped by Purdue on the way because that's where my brother's going. So on the way from West Lafayette to Notre Dame, we stopped at some like random ass Walmart for a bathroom break and some snacks. And obviously we're like probably the only brown people in this county at this point. It's a very, very, very small town. And my brother and dad both have darker skin than me. They're big dudes. My mom has lighter skin, but she doesn't look white either. And this little girl in the produce section, she looks at my family and asks her mom, who she's with, she's like, Mom, and she says it loudly too, because kids are not subtle. Mom, what did they do to make God so angry? Why did he make them so dark? And the mom, and like my whole family heard this. We were like 5 feet away. And I'm getting heated. My parents are like, calm, okay, do not pick a fight in a Walmart here. Like, now is not the time. We're just gonna go. But the mom just said, I don't know, honey, and they walked away. She didn't bother telling her child, like, maybe that wholesome Brown family did not, in fact, spite God.
I don't
So
know.
what did you do?
Brown.
Oh no.
Did you?
Oh my god. That's a
It
lot.
was like culture shock, but the bad kind.
That's a lot. Yeah, traveling is I mean there's a reason why black people created their own like tourism books so you know where to stop and where to keep going. Like there's
Like,
a
don't get me
reason for
wrong, the
that.
Bay is definitely kind of racist in other ways. I think it's more like the Karen types here, though.
Low-key racism. Like
Yeah, like
lowercase racism.
the one in
Not
9/11
the
where you're
hard
like, oh,
R.
you're gonna bomb the food area? Like, no,
Yeah.
bitch, I'm buying a fucking banana. Like,
Yeah.
no.
That.
So I like it's pretty diverse out here where I live, and there's an Indian reservation, so everybody knows us, and we all look very different. I feel like I'm mid-range on skin tone, kind of. For visual, I am brown. I'm black. Like brown skin, and so just general sort of racism that kind of I'm used to, but my stepdad is this white dude from Nebraska, from a small town of Nebraska, like one of them little tiny towns. And we went a couple times to visit. I feel like we're never going to go back. He's older and his parents are now dead. And he's probably like, I'm never going back there. I hate that place. But, I went a couple times when I was like 10 or something like that. And those people in that town definitely had never seen a black person in real life before. And then it was just like me and my mom in their one tiny little grocery store. And I mean, no one said anything to us, I think, because like it was a small town. Even though Skip had been gone for 20 years, they still knew who he was because there's not a lot of people there. And so we were obviously with them, and they're a nice town. It's just they don't know any black people. So like we were in a grocery store really getting looks. And then they also had a community pool. So I guess maybe this was like racism, but like they had a community pool there, public pool, and I don't remember it, probably because I was so young, but I think everybody got out when I got in, which was like cool when you're like 7, because like then you get the whole pool by yourself. And then like I don't know, like after like 10 minutes, everybody was like, whatever, just get back in the pool. Like it wasn't like it's a weird small town, but like I think also they're really into cattle farming there. So like I know now they have a lot more like Latinos living in that area because of the farm work and stuff like that. So I think it's, they probably still, if I went back, they'd be like, why is this black person here? But like, they're not like, oh my God, a not white person. Like, I think they're probably at that level, but it was like super weird. And we did this big, long road trip, and we went to Kansas, we went to Kentucky. My mom had a friend who lived in Kentucky, and we were like in the boonies of Kentucky, like in the mountains. And she was this dark-skinned black lady from like Flint, Michigan, and she lived in the mountains somewhere in Kentucky. And I think she said she was like the only black person in town, but she was also like a masseuse, and everybody loved her, So it wasn't like that. It was more like when we rolled into town, it was like, oh, there's more black people, those Kay's friends, because it was just like some really small town that had one black person, and they all knew who she was. But yeah, like be it going places where like you're just like not used to it, especially like I said, I grew up out here. It's just, it wasn't, oh, you guys are Indian. It was that like we're specific kinds of Indian, and they knew who we were and knew our family, and like maybe that's why they're racist. Like not broad, oh, I hate not white people. It's just like I know some of your cousins and they beat me up one time, so I'm gonna be racist.
Yeah. It's a little different when you leave like your little thing. I'm curious though for Joe. Joe is the only one that has like super visible tattoos and piercings. Like what do you get?
I get mostly people avoiding me, which is great. And then the other it was like the only time somebody has ever really said anything to me was I was walking my dog, and this lady comes up to me, or we were like walking by each other, and she was just like, that's a lot of tattoos. And I'm like,
Okay.
Like, are you my mom? Are you my mom? Like, who are you? Like, I don't know. It's fine. It's not a real, I'm not impressed.
I was gonna say the new work on your hand looks really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's like
that shit is flames.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't think there like people that there are people out there that think being heavily tattooed like is some like a form of oppression or something, but like I pay a lot of money to look like this, so it's not at all.
It's not the same. It's a different
No.
vibe.
So if anyone says anything, I'm like, it doesn't. Of course, they're gonna say something. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So moving on from that topic, let's catch up with, I think, Joe, because Joe was like totally different vibe from their episode. Because you had in your episode a saga. You were working somewhere in a lab. What was that job called? The title of that? I
I was
forgot.
a research assistant.
All
I was
right, you were a
research.
research assistant, going to school, working it up, super academic. And you were like, you know what? No, I'm going to be a weightlifting coach. And then you worked at a coffee shop, and then the pandemic started. So what the fuck are you doing right now?
So I was looking at my calendar earlier today, like looking back on my shit, and when I was the last time I was on here, I like just got accepted to Flatiron School to learn how to code. And then I started doing that in March, and I graduated. It was like 15 weeks, and I graduated from that, and now I work as a front-end developer for geez, my brain. This place that does like events for like Coachella, and like it's very like it's just such a good fit, and I'm really happy there, and I like have good health care, and I started working there and like immediately got COVID, and they're just like, take all the time you need, like it's fine, like we have unlimited PTO, like actually use it, like it's a really like I have like a desk now. The last time I was on the show, it was just I think I was like in my bed that I have on the floor. But I'm like, yeah, 2021 was it all, just so much happened, and I'm just so happy with where I'm at, and I didn't like it's crazy. I just didn't think I was going to be here and doing what I'm doing, and I am really happy. And then powerlifting instead of weightlifting it's nice. I miss deadlift and bench press a lot.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not giving that up. That's pretty
Yeah.
nuts. A lot of, I think, well, no, Shravya, your body situation is new to you or not new? I don't remember.
It's not new. I think it's just like, I mean, I don't want to say my age catching up with me, but also like it kind of feels like as I'm getting older, the flares get worse.
I think it's life, adulting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No.
like that. So like
Yeah.
if
Yeah, no, I don't think that's the same thing.
we're
Those
kind of
two
taking a
separate
step back,
ideas.
going back to basics, going back to like foundational strength and functional fitness. And like honestly, I think it's cool. I'm learning a lot. It's interesting to see what is, I guess, still weak on my body, where the weak links are, and what powerlifting for 3 years, like I only powerlifted for 3 years. So what that changed from the last time I tried this style of training, because I haven't trained like this since like college, which is interesting.
Yeah, no, it's always nice to switch it up. I mean, I'm asking because somehow we got to talking to people on this podcast that like literally just brand new, like, oh yeah, I just found out like 3 months ago I have MS, surprise. So that was Rebekah and Joe, and now Brigitte's like, I was powerlifting and then I wasn't. So it's like pretty random that we just find people in this timing of like, what the fuck is going on with my life? So that's what I wanted to find out. Joe is
Yeah.
settled. Rebekah is like settled somewhat. All right. Now Shravya's
I don't
got
know,
new shit.
kinda.
For me, it seems like, so I think I've like kind of been living in this, mental state of like, I have so many people telling me like, oh, you can't be that sick, you look fine. So I feel like I, on some level, believed I'm not actually very sick. And this is kind of just a lot of me treating my body like garbage for like
Ah.
the majority of my 20s catching up with me at this point. And honestly, I'm not even mad about it because, like I said, it's kind of like a project I get to work on. It's like a puzzle. And it's frustrating, but like, I think the hardest part for me was like having to give up the barbell for a little bit. But then I realized the only reason I was feeling a way about it is because this community is so gung-ho about like, oh, barbell only, no machines, no cardio, blah, blah, blah. If you use a leg press, like, what are you doing with your life? You should be squatting. But like, squatting takes so much out of me. And I would show up to my training sessions with my barbell. Like, I would show up and barely be able to squat a plate. And it would just take so much out of me for the next week. I was like making maybe 2 sessions a week at that point. And I had a conversation with my coach and she was like, well, you know, it kind of just sounds like we need to take a step back for a bit. And that's okay. Like, it's fine.
Damn, shout out to the coach.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. I think anyone who is struggling with a chronicle illness, chronicle,
With chronicles of illness. That's where you were
I
going.
think anyone
I
who's
saw it.
struggling with that should definitely hit her up though, because like she's real good.
Dang. So
Yeah.
Brigitte, your thing is totally new, and it's been wait. Actually, stop. Sorry, Rebekah, you were gonna say something about being settled in your body or not being settled.
Oh, so like a month ago, I hurt myself doing it's so funny. People are always like, oh my God, CrossFit's so dangerous, but it's really like it's ranked pretty low on like actual injuries. Like you get way more hurt like running. Like you're more likely to get hurt running than you are to do when you do CrossFit. And I hurt myself doing box step ups. And like
Well done.
messed up my back. It's been like a month now. I have sciatica. Like it's a whole thing. But because I haven't been working out for like the past month, it's been like 4 weeks. I never really stopped working out when I got MS. I'd only been working out. I'd only been doing CrossFit for a year and a half before my symptoms started. And I most likely had symptoms before that. It was, you know, and this was just how I lived and I didn't know. And then, you know, my body fell apart. I had my initial flare up. I took maybe 2 months off. And then I was not going to CrossFit anymore, but I like, you know, went to an exercise class. And then like the next month I was going to like just a regular old gym, working on trying to figure out how to use the elliptical, you know, and stuff like that. And then, so it's been about a month, and it's interesting because like I said, I never really stopped working out. I was always kind of active despite everything. And my symptoms are really low. Like I'm in an MS chat and some of those people, their symptoms are so bad. And I don't really have a lot of those symptoms, but then I didn't work out for like a month. And then it was like, oh my God, my hips are so tight. I can't move. I think this is spasticity. Like, and like I have a pain in my leg and I have it all the time. And it has been so much worse this last like month because I wasn't doing anything at all. And it's like so interesting how much like just being inactive has pushed me back. But then like last week I worked out 3 days in a row and they were really short workouts. Like right before I got hurt, I had upped my training. And I was working out for like an hour, which I'm sure is like not a lot of time for the rest of you guys, but like
oh, that's where I'm at right now.
Are rough. So like you might do some accessory work for like 20-30 minutes and then a 10-minute workout is really all you need after that. But like I had started really working on doing that every time, like do an accessory, do a workout. And then I got hurt, and my training program, I work out from home. I do this training program. This is a really cheap training program, and they write the workouts for whatever equipment you have. If it's like, if you only have dumbbells, if you have a barbell, if you are really good at CrossFit and could do a muscle up, here's the same workout, a little bit written different. But they also have a version for like if you're new to working out, if you're injured, like things like that. So the normal workout might have a barbell snatch, but then that other version they do, if you're new to it, it's like alternating hang snatches with a dumbbell, you know, because it's still the same movement, but doing that with one arm from the hang position is way different than with a barbell from the floor. So I've been doing I did that last week. I worked out 3 times and I still felt really bad last week. And then I worked out 3 times in these like 10-minute, really slow, steady, like I'm not pushing myself, I'm not trying to sweat. I just want to move. And they weren't even that good. Like I don't have the range of motion right now because of my back to like do a kettlebell deadlift. I just can't pick it up from the ground. So I had to have like a little stepper thing and I had it on the stepper and I'm still moving really slow. And like, I feel so much better than I did last week because I had
Yeah.
like 3 days of working really slow, but kind of just like working on the motions. But like, I also in this last month, like completely lost my squat. Like I cannot get down there. Previously, even before I started ever working out, I could get almost my whole hand to the floor from like standing up straight, just like reach down with my leg straight. I can touch my knees right now. That's as far as I can get. And like I couldn't touch my knees like 2 weeks ago. And it's so like I'm at a weird point right now where like I'm just learning to move again. And it's all just because like I wasn't standing up straight while doing box step ups with a sandbag on my
That's
back.
it. Doesn't take much.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm just back to the beginning. Like who knows when I'm gonna touch a barbell again, you
Yeah.
know?
I'm in the same phase though, because I had one vein lasered and then I had to like chill. And then 2 weeks later I had the other one lasered. I had to chill like again. So and at the time I couldn't even tolerate doing something standing up. So I was just doing like laying down cars and like bands laying down for a month. So now I'm like, I wasn't even putting shoes on. Now I'm like not even used to putting on shoes. Like I put on shoes and my nerve pain is like, bitch, shoes? What is this? So yeah, same vibes. But I think like the old powerlifter me, like that's where also having a coach and like that support of like, am I tripping has helped. My coach is Gab Strength though, but like I was there too. Like, well, if my workout is not an hour and 30 minutes and I don't do like this level of weight, then it's not a real weight. Like I was on that bullshit. But then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like if I go in there and all I do is box squats, like that's fine.
I'm really learning how to walk, which is interesting. I noticed through this whole new phase that I've actually been walking wrong for at least since I hit puberty. And it's interesting because my glutes are significantly weaker than the rest of my lower body, which I've always wondered like why. That's very interesting. But part of my like new, I guess, protocol is to just get more steps because my body likes it. And we're just trying to do what my body likes. And I realized like, oh, I don't use my glutes and my hamstrings when I walk because when I started developing hips in middle school, I started like compensating and kind of shuffling to look less curvy. So I just have been walking with only half the muscles used to walk this entire time. And now I actually use my posterior chain and it's what a difference, guys. Wow. I wish someone told me this like 10 years ago.
Yeah, and you've had ACL issues too, right? And still
Oh
nobody was
yeah.
like, what is you doing? Why are you
I
walking like
know.
this?
I just thought I walked slow. I just thought I'd take tiny steps, but turns out I don't have to. And I also think that's why picking up skating has been so hard for me because I never shifted my weight fully onto the leg that's like going forward.
Yikes.
I kind of
Yeah.
stayed in the middle so my hips wouldn't swing because I didn't want them to. But yeah, it's been a world of difference, guys. I've been learning a lot.
I'm kind of there, like right behind you. Like, so I have severe pigeon toe, but it's gotten so bad that now my bones are starting to twist and turn. And so when we moved, we found this beautiful apartment. It's got huge vaulted ceilings, but the way to get the huge vaulted ceiling apartment is we're on the second floor. And it is like they are little small 20 steps. And I mean, it is. So I realized I can't go down steps because my toes are so pigeon toed and the joints are so twisted now that I actually have to go down sideways or go down backwards because I cannot go straight down steps because it's going to blow out a knee because of how bad I've been walking for all of my life.
Mm.
And it's that realization that I'm so afraid of popping out a joint that I no longer even bend my knees when I walk. I no longer use my ankles. Like I'm just kind of like I walk like a Barbie. I don't use any joints. I'm just kind of like hopping along, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm missing out. And it's funny that you said that you don't use your glutes. I use nothing but glutes now because it's just the glute pushing me along instead of using anything else. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing with it? Like that realization happened, like, I think it was last week, of going down the stairs going, no wonder I feel like I'm blowing out a knee. I'm literally stepping on the stairs sideways, but I'm moving forward.
I feel like the best way to describe the way I was walking up till now was kind of like a penguin.
Yeah.
Well, you were waddling. You weren't
Yeah.
walking.
It's sexy.
Yeah, like my leg was staying, my legs were
Yeah.
staying straight. It was like literally 1 foot in front of the other like that.
Yeah. Get your
Well, and
life.
I think part of that also is like, so I've gained like 40 pounds over COVID. And that feeling of your legs chafing as you're walking and trying to get your legs in front of each other, but with a wide stance, but also keep your hips tight so you don't sublux a hip, and moving your foot in, it's just, it's so much easier to waddle. But I need to stop.
Yeah, don't do that.
And thank
From
you
your
for that
resident
reminder
physical
that I need to
therapist,
work on my
don't
walk.
do that.
Yeah.
Bridget, how's your walking? Because you got a leg thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could not move my foot till probably mid-December. I had surgery in November, and I kind of had to relearn how to walk after that. Still really struggle with it just because it's very painful to walk with CRPS. But my leg is so tight, like I have to swing it out to get the gait right because my foot won't like come up. So it's been very challenging. I've been using forearm crutches when I go out and have to be out all day, and that's been helpful, but it's definitely an adjustment.
Do you have any braces for your foot or ankle?
No, I don't know that I could tolerate a brace on it. It's still super sensitive.
feeling.
Like even wearing socks and sweatpants is a lot.
Yeah, you kind of need to wear socks with braces. So
Yeah.
I think
But
that's
I've
the
been
thing that
working on
people
it.
don't understand about the
Does
CRPS
stuff like-
is,
It hurts. Yeah.
yeah.
Does
the-
stuff like
the
nerve numbing
feeling.
cream do anything? Like, or is that just kind of topical?
It hasn't helped me. I actually have nerve damage, so I can't feel my shin or the top of my foot, but for some reason my brain still says they hurt. So I tried nerve medicine on it, and I can't even feel it. It still just says pain up in here.
yikes. So when you say nerve medicine, you mean like oral pills or topical stuff?
I was talking about like topical stuff.
Okay.
It wasn't anything prescription. It was like sunburn stuff with lidocaine in it. I just figured maybe that would help, but I couldn't even feel it on my skin, so it did nothing.
No.
Yeah,
Somebody
I
told me
tried-
once capsaicin for nerve pain, and
I tried capsaicin.
I
I have
died.
capsaicin. I have
that was terrible.
I have the diflinac, the NSAID
Yeah.
gels. I
Horrible.
have lidocaine. We've tried Lyrica. We've like it just.
Oh, Lyrica's my favorite.
Oh, I hate
Lyrica
it.
helps with my itching. I have neuropathic
Yeah.
itching. My body
Yeah,
tells me I'm
use
itchy when
it.
I shouldn't be.
That's what I use gabapentin for. Lyrica made me swell up like a sausage.
I was the opposite. Gabapentin didn't do shit. And they were just like
Same.
upping it. Like, all right, just take another pill. All right, just take another pill. All right, just take another pill. And I'm like, all right, guys, 1,200 milligrams, guys. Come on.
That was me and Lyrica. I started
Come on.
swelling so bad I couldn't get my rings on, but I wasn't getting any relief. And it was like,
Yeah, what's the point?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're willing to throw like every single med at it. But it's one of those weird things that like it's so hard to describe to doctors when you have nerve pain that's just it's so out of sync with what your body should
Yeah.
be feeling.
I've been lucky to have like just accidentally ended up with doctors who are pretty experienced with CRPS, but then sometimes I'll end up in like urgent care and they have no idea, and I can tell they're just freaked out and they don't necessarily understand what's happening. and then they don't treat it right, and it's just a nightmare.
Yeah, figuring out what it was definitely, because I was like, is this just something like, what is like, there's no rhyme or reason. And like the path that the CRPS is in my forearm, at least, is like, it literally makes no sense. Like I can still wear my watch because it just randomly stops. It does not, there's no rhyme or reason for it. And there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to even put a shirt on. And like the doctor was like, well, we could try and do like dry needling and stuff, but I can't even touch that area. So how are we supposed to get the needles into there? Like, it's just one of those baffling, even watching the doctors get baffled is really frightening and frustrating.
For my nerve stimulator placements, I think it was 3, but it was awful because they would like tape the sheet thing to my leg, and then they would be moving it around and pulling stuff off. And then obviously they're sticking a giant needle deep in my leg, which hurts all the time. And it was just, and you're awake the whole time, which is great too. So you get to experience all the pain.
What are they trying to do?
No.
They're trying to work on your muscle strength, because you have like, there's like 2 things. You have nerve pain and CRPS, but also you actually don't have like control of your muscles, right?
Yeah, so
Okay,
I have a little bit of, I don't know if that's from the nerve damage or from the CRPS, but my foot will like kind of twitch, and it's definitely weaker than my other leg. So the nerve stimulator, it doesn't do anything for that. It's mostly just to kind of scramble the signals coming from my leg to my brain to stop some of the pain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a pain.
It actually
management
helps a little bit. Yeah.
Yikes.
But it was not fun getting it put in.
Yeah, no, that's bullshit. My vein thing is like, it was lidocaine and whatever mixture, and it's just like needle sticks, and it was like 6 of them, just like on my inner thigh, just look, and they're like, all right, couple pinches, and I'm like, hold on, 4, 5, bitch, you said a couple, and what's going on right now? That shit was, it was not good. It's not a vibe. No thanks. No thanks. Is there, let's see. Rebekah, we didn't talk that long ago. So you just told us about your new injury. Great work on that. Way to go. Messed that up all on your own. Can't blame anyone else. All right.
It was pretty sweet.
Mhm.
I was gonna say,
yeah, what are you gonna say?
Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say my last injury is also because of a box step ups. Maybe I'll just never do it again.
It's just the worst. It's like the dumbest way to, like, no equipment. I mean, I did have equipment. I had a sandbag on my back, but like, just, it was really stupid.
Literally,
Yeah.
I literally just fucking fell over at the bottom of it.
You just
I just
fell.
fucking fell.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
no,
This was the first
I
day
was
in my
just
new gym at the time too, and I was
not
so
doing
embarrassed.
it.
No, I don't fall anymore, thank the Lord. But yeah, that would be me. That would be me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
I
yikes.
you know, it's funny you just said like we didn't talk that long ago, but I think when we talked, like I had 2 jobs, like all this. My mom's about to walk in the house. Hello.
Who that?
She's
Hi, Mom.
They
Mama.
said hi.
Mama. Mom.
It's
Hi.
come here.
Hi.
Come down. You can
Come
see
on,
the
Mom.
screen, and
You
see
can't
you're
say
not in the
who and
screen.
not say hi.
I'm
Hi.
Rebekah.
Hi.
I'm the real Rebekah.
Oh.
Disabled girls who lift.
I'm not Rebekah. I'm Rebekah's mom.
Okay.
Bye.
Excuse me,
Nice
Bye.
to see you.
Wow, Rebekah's a clone, y'all. Somebody
Yeah.
look into that.
Yeah. So I don't know, the last time we talked, I was like working 2 jobs, like
Okay,
I-
so you just got your shred shed. You had 2 jobs.
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
I just got in
Okay.
the shred shed. I had 2 jobs. I was trying so hard for a year to like figure out how to quit one of my jobs. And then there was a day that I had written a resignation letter for my support job, and then I never sent it in, but I had a date on it of like, this will be my last day, and then I didn't send it. And then I, for whatever reason, I was terminated the day, like that day that would have been on my 2-week notice.
Do you believe in witchcraft?
Yeah, it was great. I was like, oh, this was gonna be my last day anyway. I'm so glad you decided to do this. But yeah, no, like
Ooh.
I only have one job now, and it's pretty sweet. I'm the director of communications for my tribe, and a lot of it is sending out emails, but it's also just making sure the community members know about stuff. I guess I'm on like a committee right now to do some stuff, and I was just posting about it on Instagram, and someone was like, "Oh, really?" Because I didn't know, and I was like, "Girl, I sent out that email like 5 times." I sent that out every
Oh, yeah.
Friday for a month. I sent it out in the big email. I sent it out a couple times on its own, but like, if you really want to say this, that you're interested, I will make sure you know specifically every time about this thing.
Sounds like peopling.
Yeah,
The
yeah. A
food
lot
you've
of
been
my
taking pictures of looks real good.
Oh yeah, I'm working on my photos right now. It kind of worked out. I had started it, but then I got hurt, so I had a lot more time to kind of work on it, of an indigenous food kind of project. One of the things is my job is I'm supposed to write a newsletter. Everybody always wants recipes. Shinnecock people do not want to give their recipes. Like no one will give me a recipe for like anything because it's a secret, So and then our recipes are kind of weird stuff where it's hard, where I am on the East Coast, I live in New York. There's not as many indigenous people over here because we never moved. We were never part of the Trail of Tears. We never went anywhere, and so it's built up where we are. So there's just like not as many of us. So right now I'm kind of doing this like food project. This week I'm gonna make a venison empanadas. So that'll be fun. And so yeah, I'm like working on my photography because like if I can't get recipes from anybody, I gotta make my own recipes, and then I want the pictures to actually be nice. So like my job made me buy a camera, and now I'm learning how to
I'm
take
into it.
photos.
So you're getting paid to learn.
Yeah, and I'm like my
Okay.
own boss too, because that support job, like it was 9 to 5. I always had to sign in. I always had to like do stuff. Now it's like I am the director of communications, and there's no one else in my department. And
I am the
so it's just
director of me.
Yeah,
Good
I'm the
day.
director of myself. And there's certain things that they need me to do, and then it's like you figure out the rest of what you want to do. And so what I want to do is this like sort of food project where, using these things they're making me do to figure out some other stuff. But
I'm into it.
that's where I'm at right now, and
Gross.
not working out. But I'm starting again. Like now that I felt better after doing that a couple times last week, I think I'm gonna try to get back into it now.
Slow and steady. You're good.
Yep.
You're good. All right. So Shravya, where are you at? I think we checked in. We got to know Brigitte. We checked in with everyone else before we take a break or close this episode for the real life people. Where are you at?
I got a new cat.
Okay. All right. New cat.
Yeah, so I got a kitten in June. His name is Toulouse. He's real cute, real loud. I'm surprised he hasn't been screaming this entire time. He usually gets really needy when I'm not giving him attention. But he and my adult cat are like best friends now. They're all over my Instagram. I have like low-key just a cat blog at this point. I figured out I have ADHD, so that's been a fun ride. The psychiatrist specifically said, "Wow, it's pretty severe. I'm surprised you made it this far." So
Nice.
got that going for me. My life kind of turned around after that. I actually can like chain activities together now, which is nuts. And I've been good, honestly. I feel like a lot of my, imposter syndrome, anxiety, whatever, was kind of rooted to my inability to get shit done in a timely manner. And I'm good. Like I got a raise and everything.
I love hearing that. Yay.
That's right. You get that raise.
I mean, body is finicky as per usual, but like my mind's good for the first time in a while, and I'm happy.
Oh, I love hearing that.
Great job. Great job, everybody. All right, Brigitte, we don't have the saga, Brigitte, but I'm sorry, I keep saying Brigitte because the spelling looks French, and I just keep doing that.
It is French. I just go by Brigitte, but Brigitte is the...
We don't do that here. What is your name? We don't do that here. What's the correct pronunciation?
Brigitte, but it's spelled Brigitte.
Okay, but what does your mother call you?
She calls me Brigitte.
Okay,
But
great.
my dad is
All
from
right.
France.
And he
so
calls you.
This was the compromise.
Oh my Lord. Okay, you got a whole thing going on. That we don't have time for that. Never mind. All right. Never mind. All right. Well, we don't have the saga of Brigitte, but at least from your injury to today, are we on the same vibe? So far, everybody's here on a period of growth, whether or not they're working out very well. We're not talking about that. That's fine. We lift. That's like up and down. The other part. How are you?
So I'm in grad school right now. It's my first semester, and it has been an interesting experience. So I'm in a biochemistry program,
Oof.
and obviously that means like a lot of time in labs. And labs just are not built to accommodate people who are on crutches or in a wheelchair or need to sit. And it's been very challenging in that sense. And I'm not sure if I like it enough to like stick with it and try to power through and figure out how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at now. I also have POTS, which I've been dealing with since like middle school. So I was used to kind of navigating chemistry lab needing to sit before that, but I could still move around fairly easily. And now it's kind of like double, can't get through. I'm on crutches, so it's not like I can carry stuff and move between equipment. It's just been a lot.
That does sound like a lot. Is anyone even like this? Does anyone care? Or are they just letting you struggle?
So people have been really nice, but I think I'm like the first person they've ever had in the program who's got some sort of disability. They told me they had one guy on crutches, but I'm pretty sure he had just like injured his foot for a couple weeks. And they're like, he was fine. And it's just not the same level. So they're trying, but I mean, when the whole building is just inaccessible, there's not all that much they can do.
Oof. Yeah, that's a rough one.
So I don't know what I'll do.
All right. Well, you'll figure it out. Everybody here so far is doing it. All right.
Yeah.
We go through a lot of changes. Definitely nothing is linear. Definitely everything is made up anyway. So don't let anybody make you feel bad about anything you're going through. Everything's fake. That's like step one. But I think you'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So Rebecca's mom is like a vibe in the background. If y'all are watching this on YouTube, then you can see her. First of all, she opened the door and said, "Who is that?"
I really want to bust out my robe. We should have a robe meeting.
I was in this like meeting earlier today, and then I needed to go to the grocery store, and I was like trying to figure out what town I should go to because like I wanted to go do a bunch of errands, and I was like, "You gotta be back. I have to do a podcast." She was like, "Who you doing a podcast with?"
Oh, God.
I was like, "My friends. Like anytime."
Who you friends with?
Yeah. Like, my friends. She was like, "Which friends?" And I was like, I got friends.
Yeah, I get the what friends who. And I'm like,
yeah,
they're online. You haven't met them, okay?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you don't know them.
Classic friends.
Yeah, but so
classic mom. I mean.
That's the thing. Like before the pandemic, I had an apartment in Queens in the city, like in New York City, and like then I moved home, and it's just been like a whole thing. Like since I've been home, I think I was only gone for like 2 years, but like it's been a thing since I've been home, and like. It's funny. I said I was like on a committee, and one of the things we were talking about was like housing on the reservation. What should we do? And I told this great story about how like I don't want to live at home. I don't want to live with my mom. You can all say that to her, and then she'll kick me out. And then one of you people have to let me live in your house because like we don't have apartments here or anything. So and like I came back and told her that. She was like, "You want to get kicked out?" And I was like, "No, because I don't have a place. No one said I could live there." And then like
plan failed.
Then today was the second day of the meeting, and like before it started, someone was like, "So what you said yesterday about like wanting your own space? Do you want to dog sit for me sometimes? Because like then you can just like stay in my house by yourself for like a week." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure. I know that lady. That lady has a saltwater pool in her yard, so
okay.
Yes, I will be watching your dog.
I'm gonna come dog sit with you."
Yeah,
ma'am.
I can not have to deal with, like, she's hilarious, but like, okay, that's a lot.
No, that's big mom energy right there. I got the
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah, I
that's a
left
lot.
out. So like our apartment complex has like 3 pools and all this stuff like that normally people would be all about coming to visit. But because we're up that full flight of stairs and it's not an easy flight of stairs, nobody wants to come visit. So it's like my own space that nobody comes to see you at. And it's kind of on one level, it's good, but of course it still gets lonely. So thank God for you guys.
Yeah. Thank goodness. I'm glad everyone could make it. I really am. I love to see you. I love to talk to you offline and in this face to face. I think for this episode, maybe we'll take a break, maybe talk some more in a little bit, but I'm sure our bladders probably need a second. Thumbs up if you agree. Thumbs up. Great. For the recording, Disabled Girls out. See you on the next one.